One of the things that we're thinking about right now is the whole notion of individual consent management. There's a technological piece that's missing there, which is, the ability to direct consent from an individual consumer. So if you go to a website now, you'll see, do you accept cookies and things like that? That's consent. You're granting consent. The same notion is coming to healthcare. And what needs to happen is there needs to be this smoothing out behind the scenes of how consent is managed. There's this notion of health data rights management, and it's either on an individual basis, so you'll be able to go to apps and say, I'd like to give this doctor consent, I'd like to give this facility consent to share my data. But behind the scenes, it's actually opening up a whole bunch of ways for all of these multiple organizations to share the data for the greater good, especially in systems like whole person care in California here. Some of the best work has been done because they've kind of put that data together. And they've done it through universal consent. There's more to come, I think, in terms of consent and universal consent management and health data consent management. Well, really it's about almost licensing my individual intellectual property, which is my health, right? So there needs to be a notion that all the partners come together and say, we need a good universal system of consent management because the intellectual property of my health belongs to me ultimately, right? My privacy belongs to me. And I need to be able to direct that, and partners need to be able to say, we're going to do some things where we're going to work together. So you'll see infrastructure being built that is kind of public domain type infrastructure, much like the nature of the internet. It's a public domain type effort, and then there's going to be individual companies that build these systems, and they'll have connections into that. So you'll have your EHR understands that this person is giving consent, and I can share data with various entities. We're coming back into this world. 5, 10 years ago, there was people that had health vault applications and things like that. There's a different notion around that. So it was a good thought at the time, but it was a thought before its time, but we're coming back into that. And again, it's in essence, it's digital rights management of my intellectual healthcare property, which is me, and directing that.